I love you. Gentlefolk, ladies and men, you've wandered back into our living room, so you might as well sit on the couch and let your old Pappy Green Traveler and my friend here tell you about some movies.
It's today. 2022, we can tell them. We've been partners since 1963. God damn, you stubborn old fool.
I'm sorry.
You need more of that Goonie courage, or you need new shoes like Benny.
That's true. Yeah. And a mitt.
Yep, and a mitt. And if you're lucky enough, somebody in your neighborhood will give you one. Fat fucking chance. That's just not gonna happen. People,
not in today's America.
No, I don't even think you're gonna find a place where you can. Well, for one, people don't let their kids leave the home nowadays. But
yeah, I was gonna say, like, honestly, there's so much in the Sandlot where it's just like, Mom, I'm going out. Yeah. It's like, okay, that was my childhood. Literally, I would just be like, Mom, we didn't really go anywhere. We lived out in the country, but like, you know, my brother and I would go on a bike ride around the whole block or whatever. You know, we'd gone for like 2 hours
because it was a square mile block.
Yeah, it really was. We basically went to the next town and back, and the town was like a town had like a population of 102 people, so it's, you know.
Well, you know, the government wanted to keep you a secret, so they had to put you out there.
That's true. Yeah, they had to really find a very out of the way spot for me, and that's all right. I like the people that gave me to, so it's good. You know, I could have had it worse. But I think it is hilarious though that, sorry. Sorry. I do think it's hilarious though that, like, you know, they're all running outside of their house and playing baseball with no adult supervision. It's like nowadays you go to a park and you see all the kids like conglomerated on one side and all the parents are around it just like with their hands up like, okay, be careful. Okay, you can come down. Oh, Jesus, be careful. It's like nobody leaves their kids alone for like 5 seconds.
And these kids like that are the same age as these actors have no idea how to play the game because, well, to really know how to play the game, you kind of have to play it every day like these kids do.
Right. Yeah, they enjoyed the fuck out of their summers.
Oh, yeah, they did. So we just kind of jumped in talking about the Sandlot, but I think we're going to do the Goonies first, and this is the Potato Pick. And this is also a show called Green and Faceless on the Couch, a podcast about movies and TV. I don't even know if I said I was the Faceless Leon. That's a thing that I am.
Yeah, I almost introduced you, but then that's when I said, you know, I was just like, my good friend here. I was just like, oh man, I almost just stole his introduction away from him.
And then I did whatever the fuck I did.
I was raised by white people. We try to take everything away from everyone else. So
I see. Yes. Yeah. Same here, unfortunately.
My bad. Sorry to step on your toes there, Facey.
Well, like I said, this podcast about movies and TV. I also mentioned potatoes. Did you catch that? I did. I'm doing this show like anybody listening has never listened before. This is the Potato Pick. Maybe they haven't. If you jumped on right now, it is the Potato Pick. I don't know how many Potato Picks we've done, but it is a monthly episode that we put out just for our Patreon listeners. They suggest the movie ideas, and they then vote on them. And if you want to join in on that fun, you can come on down to patreon.com/greenandfaceless. Now, Delma Callahan, who we've already mentioned in passing in this episode.
That's true. It's true.
She suggested that we talk about two of childhood's favorite movies of all time.
Right. I think she was trying to really please me on this one.
Was she?
You know, my the birthday that the government gave me is in this month. So I think this was kind of a birthday present to me. She was just you know, these are like two of the films you had constantly on the TV as a kid. why don't you just remember your childhood and enjoy it?
Right. And mind you, you were 70 at the time.
Yeah. My human childhood. My you know, yeah.
This is where you turn the
post
page.
Area 51.
Yeah, you turn the page and you say, hey, listen, mommy, raise me. I'm older than you.
Well, I was still pooping my pants by then, you know.
Oh, right. Yeah, because, I mean...
Earth food is...
Earth plumbing.
Yeah, Earth food's hard to accommodate, too.
Oh, Earth food. It was the food. Okay.
Yeah.
But man, when we were living in the bunker together, you always said it was the plumbing.
Well, I mean, that's because they were feeding us shit.
Oh. Like from the plumbing. Oh. Gross. Well, I liked it, so that's unfortunate.
I mean, you like everything. You're a gross, amalgamous blob.
Well, I don't know about if the gross was necessary, but yeah.
That's fair. And the heat you are, though.
Yeah, okay. That's true.
In the summer humidity, nobody likes to step in a pool of mud, you know? It's just like, ugh.
Oh, that's a pool we own.
Oh, no.
Oh, no, I got him all over my shoes.
Ah, damn it. He melted again.
So, yeah, they also gave me a birthday in the middle of a very warm month, maybe to make me feel better. So let's talk about the Goonies, because you know what they needed? They needed to feel better, and that's I thought
you were going to say they needed adult supervision, which is almost accurate.
They definitely did. I mean, they did find the thing, but yeah, spoilers.
Let's do it. Let's dive in. This is one of my absolute favorite films as a kid, and still today. It's still one of my, it's easily top 50, probably top 20. Like, I love this movie. It's fucking phenomenal. It's directed by Richard Donner, which is almost unbelievable unless you were looking at the story alone. But like Richard Donner, if you don't know, he did The Omen, he did Superman, he did Lethal Weapon, and then he went to kids and did the Goonies, and it's just like, oh okay.
Well, it's a fucking
Lethal Weapon came after, I think, but.
It's a fantastic movie, and I think Richard Donner was really well assisted in his writing staff, being Christopher Columbus and Steven Spielberg.
Well, Steven, the story is based off of, it's a story by Steven Spielberg. He didn't write the script. The script is purely Chris Columbus.
Right.
Who, if you've been living under a rock, obviously, even if you've been living under a rock, you know who Steven Spielberg is. Chris Columbus, though, Harry Potter 1 and 2, Home Alone, I think.
Home Alone, yeah.
Yeah.
Home Alone
he was good with kid actors, too.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, if you had presented these three names to me and asked me which one was the director, I would have assumed Chris Columbus purely because of the performances from the kids.
See,
like, Chris Columbus just knows how to work with children.
That is 100% true. The cast is just fucking amazing. And honestly, a good portion of these people are household names today.
Yeah, they went on to become a lot, which is amazing.
Yeah, it really is.
Let's dive into it. You have a perfect fucking intro, by the way, with the Goonies. It opens up with the Fratelli family escaping jail. Mm-hmm. Amazing scene. You get all of you get all of the personality traits and flaws of every character within the first 10 minutes of this movie. Every character, the criminals, the kids, their personalities are set up so fucking well. And in that opening scene, you see all the gaffes, all the silly hijinks of the criminals trying to escape the police. I think they even burned down they try to burn down the jail or something. I remember
they do burn down the jailhouse.
Yeah. It's fucking hilarious. And they're really bad people, there's she's not the mom. What is she? Is she a mom?
She is the mom. Yes.
What was her name again? Oh, here it is. Mama Fratelli. Mama Fratelli, played by Anne Ramsey, Jake Fratelli, and Francis Fratelli, played by Robert Davi and Joe Pantoliano, respectively.
We've talked about Joe. We've talked about Joe. Yeah.
Yes, we have. Oh my god, I didn't even recognize him.
Yeah.
Holy
even with
shit.
all the hairpiece jokes.
I didn't even recognize him. Oh my god, that's amazing. Yeah, like, and Robert Davi is kind of like he's the more suave of the two, I would say, of the two brothers.
Yeah. He loves to sing his operetti.
He loves to sing. I mean, he's really rude to their other brother who comes in later, played by, his name is Sloth. He's played by, I gotta find his name real quick here.
Sloth was played by John Matsukzik.
That's right, and he was in an episode of MASH. That's where I know him from. I didn't realize until I watched it this time. John Matusik was a
thank you.
I think he was on the Raiders. He was a football player for the Raiders, I think.
Yeah, he was at least a football player.
Yeah, he starred in an episode of MASH. And I only remember it because he is like an abusive, it's a late episode of MASH. There's I only remember him because his name was Elmo. But he, if I'm remembering correctly, if it's the right episode, he ridicules and kind of blackmails, what is his name? Winchester? I think it's Winchester, the guy who replaces Frank on the show.
Oh, I haven't watched all of MASH, so I couldn't tell you.
Yeah. It's a later season. Frank Burns, he's like the rude, mean major who like lives in the same tent as Hawkeye and Trapper. He later leaves the show, and I think it's Winchester. I think that's his name. He comes in, and he's a much different personality than Frank, but it's great. But he gets bullied and blackmailed by John Matusik because Matusik wants to get a promotion. And Winchester is one of the people who is able to give a promotion, so he tries to blackmail him and bully him and threaten him into getting himself a promotion. It's a good episode. I don't know why I have that knowledge, but I didn't realize that he played Sloth as well until I watched this, and I was like, oh, I recognize that name. What does he play? And I was like, oh, fuck.
We're going to talk more about Sloth later, I'm sure. But definitely. I will say that it is a good performance by John. I'll say that.
It is. Yeah. The performance is good.
I believe it. I believe in Sloth. I really like Sloth, but I do think that the representation is problematic, and I guess we'll talk about that more.
I think that's the flaw with both of these films is representation.
Yeah.
But yeah, with the Goonies, after you get that big breakout scene, we cut to the kids, and you learn the kids' plights. Sean Astin is the main kid. He plays Mikey. Sean Astin, if you don't know, it's Samwise Gamgee. And if you did not know that, go the fuck out right now and watch Lord of the Rings. What the fuck is wrong with you?
And then Encino Man.
That's true. Which is another character in this film. He's also in it, as we found out. But right now, Mikey, played by Sean Astin, him and his brother, amazingly played by Josh Brolin. His brother, Brand. I don't remember Brandon.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes the most sense. But their family is about to sell the house, and they're about to leave Astoria, Oregon. What's it called? Goondocks?
The Goondocks. Yep. And that's why they call themselves the Goonies. I just want to clarify that the house is getting foreclosed on.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. The bank's buying up a lot of property.
Yeah, because they want
buying up, they're taking.
It's a country club wants to turn their property into, I don't know, something.
The adult stuff of this film, like the even though it's like the inciting incident that gets these kids to go out,
right?
All of that kind of stuff went over my head as a kid. I didn't give a damn.
Definitely.
It was the adventure. And then, like, even watching it as an adult, like, I was just like, oh yeah, bank people, they're bad. I work at a credit union, but bank people, they bad. They're trying to ruin these people's lives.
That's why you should go to a credit union, because bank people are bad.
That's true. They are different things, damn it. They are.
They are.
I can explain it to you right now, but I'm not going to.
Because this is a podcast about movies and TV.
Yeah, we don't offer financial advice here. We just ask for financial help.
Yes, that's right. Please.
But no, the Mikey, Brand, and all of Mikey's friends, they don't want to leave Astoria. This is their home. This is their world. This is their childhood. They don't want to uproot and leave all their friends behind. They want to stay. And so Mikey, concocts this good idea through a quick series of events, but it's still, you know, I don't need to go into every detail, but he cooks up this idea. We need to go and find One-Eyed Willie's treasure. One-Eyed Willie is a famous pirate of the area way back in the day.
Yep.
And, you know, you had this infamous treasure that's hidden. And in their attic, they find a map that could potentially lead to this treasure. And Mikey is very adamant. He's like, guys, we have to go find this treasure. I know we can do it. And, you know, eventually, they go. They have to chain up Brand, because Brand as the chaperone is like, no, you guys, we can't go out. I have to, you know, take care of all of you.
Yeah, your asthma, Sean. Mikey, you gotta worry about your asthma. That's what Mom said.
I completely forgot too before this rewatch that Mikey suffers from asthma. Like, I don't know why. I completely forgot.
Well, because it's just kind of one of those character traits that they used as a gag, and then they it's like an easy, oh look, he grew, because at the end of the movie, spoilers, he throws away his inhaler. But it's kind of silly.
Which is always, it's always a wonderful, good, cathartic scene for movies. But I will say right now, right here, consult your doctor before throwing away your medication.
I just took a drink and I was trying so hard not to spit it out.
Oh, sorry. It can work for some people. Like, literally stopping cold turkey, that's totally fine for some people. But for other people, consult your doctor first. That's dangerous.
Thank you.
I mean, an inhaler is whatever. You know, there's a lot of controversy around asthma and inhalers, but it's whatever. But anyways, Sean, Mikey, they get their friends together. Let's go through the friend list.
Yeah, that's
because there's a lot of good kids here, a lot of good characters. I feel first and foremost we need to mention Chunk. I don't remember his actual name. I know him as Chunk.
Jeff. Oh man, I don't know. Lawrence. His name is Lawrence, and we only know that.
I was gonna say the actor is Jeff Cohen.
Jeff Cohen plays Chunk. He is named Chunk, unfortunately, because he is an overweight child. And everything about him is food. I will say that Jeff Cohen plays those scenes fucking brilliantly.
Right. I don't think Chunk is like a bad nickname, mainly because he is very gluttonous. So I think it is kind of a fitting nickname. The one thing that I was like, okay, that's a little over too far. Even though everybody loves it, even though it's a huge meme from the movie, the Truffle Shuffle.
Yeah.
It's a little too far.
Yeah, that's a little too far. And it's right at the beginning of the movie, too. Corey Feldman, his name is Mouth. And we've talked about Corey Feldman before. And this...
Everybody's talking about Corey Feldman.
He is so good as Mouth. They're like perfect casting, 100%.
Oh, yeah. The role he was meant to play.
Exactly. And he is kind of mean to Chunk. And he's fluent in Spanish for some reason, which is cool. And...
Which has some great scenes.
Yes, has some great scenes. The way they introduce it is the mother, who I don't remember their mother's names. It may be the Walshes, Mary Ellen Trainer.
Yeah, Irene Walsh. Yep.
Okay, so she's hurt herself, and they have to move out because the house is being foreclosed. So she hires. Who is it? Rosalita? I think that's the character's name. I might be wrong on that. And I forget.
No, you're right.
I can't find the actor, but she does not have any English.
Lupe Ontiveros.
Thank you. So he takes Rosalita around the house. I found her. And is translating, I say in air quotes, what Mrs. Walsh is saying to him, but he's talking about like sex dungeons and
drugs
and drugs and torture chambers.
She tells her, she being the mother, Mary Ellen Trainer, she tells Rosalita, she's like, okay, and make sure when you're putting the clothes away, you sort it, you like put the pants here, you put your shirts here, you put your the delicacies down here. And she's like, can you translate that for me, Mouth? And Mouth's like, yeah, sure. So you separate the heroin and the cocaine and the marijuana, or like, it's so bad. such a little ass. Another kid is Data, my favorite kid, Jonathan Ke Huy Quan. I might be pronouncing the pronunciation of his name wrong. But I've talked about him in the last one of the last Green catch-ups, but I didn't actually like name drop him because I didn't realize it was the same guy.
Oh, really?
He was in Everything Everywhere All at Once. He is the husband to the main character,
oh, cool.
The laundromat owner. He is fucking phenomenal in that movie, Everything Everywhere All at Once. He's amazing. He plays, the whole movie, if you don't know, takes place in like multiverses. There's a lot of different multiverses because that's the thing now. And he plays like at least 2 or maybe 3 different versions of himself, of this character that is hilarious. But what you might also know Ke Huy Quan from is Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Yeah. He was the I don't remember the character's name, but oh my god, he was so fucking great in that movie too.
He was very cute in that movie. But unfortunately, it being the 80s, I do feel there's some racial stereotyping in both of those roles. 100%. But I still enjoy it because he is so darn cute and really just good at it.
I don't know, honestly. Like, I mean, definitely in Indiana. I mean, I haven't seen it in a long time, but I'm sure there is some in that. I don't see much in this one that's negative in any way.
Well, okay, I think it comes down to, so he is being included in this group of friends, but he is also the Tolkien character.
Right.
All the other characters are white. Lawrence Chunk is Jewish, but other than that, the rest of them are white kids. And his name is also Data, and he's an inventor, which science and math has always been highly associated in stereotypes.
That's fair. I don't
for Asian characters.
That's fair. My brain didn't go there immediately. It's just that's his character. Like that was his trait. I didn't think at all about. I think
it's cute. Yeah. Like the character itself is very cute, but it being the only Asian kid.
But like he's not. Yeah, that's fair. But like also he's not the only one that's inventive though, because all the Goonies are inventive. Yeah. Like Mikey and Brand have a ridiculous fucking system to open up their gate in their front lawn. Like it's hilariously stupid.
How was it?
Rube Goldberg.
Rube.
Yeah.
Ruth. It's a Ruth Ginsburg machine.
I'm down to change it to that. No, 100% though is a Rube Goldberg contraption. It's ridiculous, and then Data has like a lot of hilarious contraptions. He's got 2 headlamps that come out of his belt. He's got a boxing glove that comes out of his belt. He's got slick shoes.
Bully. Yeah, slick shoes. I love slick shoes. He has names for all of them. The lights are called bully blinders.
Yeah,
that's hilarious.
He's got to set up a lot of booty traps. Sorry.
Yes, I think that actual Mikey is the first one who said booty traps, and then everybody accidentally keeps on saying it. So that one wasn't an accent joke, which I appreciate.
It was so funny though, because it's just like he definitely was the one who corrected Mikey the first time.
Yeah, he's the first one to correct
Mikey goes,
him.
Booty traps, and he's like, "You mean booby traps?" And he's like,
"That's what I said.
That's what I said." Yeah. And then, like in the very next scene, Data's just like, "I'm going to set up some booty traps," and they're like, "You mean booby traps?" He's like, "Jeez, you people, it's what I said."
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. It was so good.
And that's another one of those traits that they gave Mikey's character, is that he always uses the wrong word and has to be corrected by somebody, but he's always like, "That's what I said," and I like, totally identify. Yeah, with that.
Yeah, 100%. I love it. And then you got the other 2 characters who are, as we've mentioned already, a bit of a representation issue, which are the female companions of the Goonies who tag along. You have Andy, played by Carrie Green, who is she's not dating Brand, but they're a love interest of sorts.
Yeah.
It builds throughout. And then you have Steph, played by Martha Plimpton, Andy's best friend, and for whatever reason they decide that she needs to have a romantic relationship. Well, not really romantic. They imply the possibility of a relationship between her and Mouth, and it's like, that's fine. They didn't need to do it.
when I was a kid, I was picking up on those cues so hard that when I watched it, I was like, oh, I thought that was stronger when I was a kid.
So did I.
Yeah,
100% so did I.
Definitely,
I thought they kissed.
I thought they kissed too, but I was thinking of another kiss, spoilers, between Mikey and Andy. I will leave the situation to you viewers.
God, it's hilarious though.
It is. I think
it's a good scene too.
Brand was in a hole. Watch your step.
It's so good, man. Like this whole movie. Again, as we've said, there are representation issues. My issues mainly come from from how the women are in this movie. They are one of them. Literally, Andy is in a like a cheerleader skirt for the entire film. Like, it's very short skirt. I mean, the great thing is the continuity director did an amazing job because the dirt on that skirt was consistently accurate. Like, it gets dirty. It gets dirtier and dirtier throughout the movie. And like, I do applaud the continuity director because all of their outfits got dirtier. Yeah. It's just most recognizable on hers because she has a white skirt on. And by the end of the movie, it is like caked in brown. And I'm just like, good job. So many fucking times you see somebody like in the rain and then they come inside in the next scene and they're just dry. Not in this movie, but I'm just saying, like, in cinema in general, you see that so often. It's just like, okay, continuity director, think. What happened before this? They came in out from the rain. Is their hair going to be dry? No, it's not.
I took a shower before this, and my hair still is not dry.
Exactly. Literally, I take a shower, and it's like an hour and a half until it's finally dry.
Right.
I also don't have a hairdryer, but
we also both have pretty long hair.
Gorgeous and sexy.
And when I say pretty, I mean beautiful. Yes.
Big and bodied.
Yeah.
But the kids though, they go out in search of the treasure. That is the Goonies. We have summed them all up there. They all have their own fun quirks and identities, and they're all adorable. And the chemistry among all of them is amazing, honestly. Really? And initially it's just the boys. There's no, Brand's not there, and neither are the girls. Brand, though, once he finds out that his brother and all of them had run off, it's his duty to bring them back to keep them safe because he is the older brother. So he immediately runs outside to go chase them. Finds that they flattened his tires on his bicycle because they're all assholes.
Yes, they are.
And the funniest thing happens is he sees a little girl on her bike and he's like, I'm confiscating this bike. And he rides off. It's hilarious. Seeing Josh Brolin on a fucking kid bike. Phenomenal. That's Thanos, everybody.
It's pretty funny. Yeah.
Banging his knees on the handlebars.
All right. Well, I think we probably are safe to jump into closing statements on this. Really.
We didn't really even mention what happens, which is the treasure is at the Fratelli's house where they're holding up.
They're holding up in this old restaurant, and it is buried below it.
And so it's a very fun and a very exciting adventure going deep into this like creepy little house. You got, again, as we said with the representation of Sloth, like, he is a disfigured, I can't think, mentally handicapped.
I think mentally handicapped has gone by the wayside. The term that I have been hearing is neurodivergent. I don't know how big of an umbrella term that is, but I do know that it applies to people on the autism spectrum and people who have ADHD. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it includes whatever diagnosis Sloth would be under, but
at the very least, he's deformed and severely physically abused by his family, to the point where he's kind of like chained up in a basement like room. And like they gave him a TV, that's kind of nice, but if he's mean to them, if he screams or swats at them, they don't even give him food. They just like leave it outside of his range so he can't get at it. It's just it's awful. It's very awful.
It is awful. That's the part. So I don't think that we as people who make movies, I'm including us in that, I don't think that we should stop including individuals like Sloth in movies. I think what's unfortunate about Sloth is that the first time you meet this character, they are depicted as a monster. And it is part of what I feel like really the heart and message of the movie. It's kind of hidden in there. But I feel like the message of the movie is that you can't judge people just based on what they look like. You have to get to know them, because Chunk and Sloth get to know each other and they love each other. And, Chunk doesn't know how social services works, but he does offer to take care of Sloth afterwards. And I think that's beautiful.
I feel like mildly bad because like one of the, there are so many lines in both of these films that were everyday statements in my house as a kid. We used a lot, and still today I do a lot of things like, but one of them specifically that I kind of feel bad about, but I don't think I'm ever going to stop using it is Sloth. He breaks free when he finds the kids, way late in the movie. He's up on this like high ledge and he's just like, "Hey, you guys." I do that all the fucking time. I love it. It's a great moment. He recognizes who his friends are because even though they screamed the first time they saw him, once they realized that he's not a monster, they were immediately accepting of him. And because that's what it means to be a Goonie. It's
right.
Not judging. I mean, like as you said, it's not, don't judge the Goonies because they fucking, they went on a treasure hunt, man. What'd you do when you were 8? Like,
right. Yeah. Like they're all underestimated individuals, but together they are very resourceful, and they find the freaking treasure. And just to continue on Sloth a little bit, I think that it really is kind of an expose of how some people, especially in the time period, were treated just because they were different. So I don't know. I think what the problem is with me is that seeing this character treated that way, at least as a kid, I thought that he was some kind of dangerous monster. But really what the film is trying to say is that he isn't, and nobody should be treated that way. Right. So I think the heart of this movie was all in the right place where it concerns Sloth. But just that opening part with him made me so scared of him as a kid that I think it kind of did the wrong thing, at least for the younger generations. Right.
Yeah, they needed to ease into him like Quasimodo and Hunchback of Notre Dame. You don't show the people being afraid of him first. You show a moment where he's being peaceful with the birds and the gargoyles. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyhow, closing statements on the Goonies. I really enjoy this movie despite some of the problems that we've mentioned. And honestly, there's not that many of them. I think the intentions of the people making this film were all good. They were trying to be slightly inclusive. And, for the time, I think it's a great movie that people can go back to and still just freaking enjoy and not feel like, oh, why does all of my childhood memories suck?
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I agree with you. This is it's a very warm-hearted, kind of feel-good film for the boys. I mean, and the girls too.
Yeah.
Anybody can take enjoyment from this. It's very much aimed towards younger boys, though, I would say. Right.
While Andy and Steph are less focused on, I still think their characters have some merit. Their skills are used. They're not just there to be looked at.
Yeah, the Goonies as a whole literally could not have found the treasure without either of their skills.
Each one of them. Yeah. Each one of them were necessary.
Yeah. So it's like they definitely use everyone, but that's the only problem. And it's not even a problem, honestly. It's just I see where you're coming from with Sloth, and I agree with you that they shouldn't have introduced him like that at first. But even as a kid, I always thought Sloth was just warm-hearted, cuddly bear, and And the only reason I thought that though is as a kid, the first time you see him is through the Fratellis almost. Like you're seeing it through the eyes of the kids, but you're seeing how the Fratellis are treating this person. And like the kids are scared only because he's in shadow, and like, you know, once he turns around, they see the deformity, then they're just like, oh God.
He's making loud noises, protesting what his family is doing to him.
But like the first time you see him, he's being abused by the Fratelli, so it's like it almost immediately elicits this sympathy where you're just like, man, I hate these Fratelli. They're such assholes.
As an adult, I can totally agree with you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I can see how a kid can miss it. That's how I felt as a kid too. Is I hated the Fratellis as a kid. Like they were just dicks, you know. So my only real issue was with the use of of Andy and Steph. It's not even an issue again, but like they are really just kind of there for romantic interests for most of the movie. Yeah. They have their part, but Andy's like in between two different, you know, she's got this jock guy who is driving her around at the beginning. But then at the same time, there's Bran. Bran is a very handsome and, you know, makes her laugh, very kind guy. And then Steph, she really doesn't have any kind of like romantic involvement until the implicit like hints at the end. And I just, as an adult, I just don't get it. Like, why? Why do they do that? It's just weird.
There's the scene between her and Steph, if I can recall the lines. He says something really nice to her, and she says, you know, maybe you are a good kid. You know, if it wasn't just for your mouth. And he said, well, you know, maybe you're kind of pretty if it wasn't for your face. Yeah. I'm sorry. And then immediately gives her a hug.
It's good. I like it. I do like it. Like, that's the thing is like, even though it's like, even though I say it's an issue, it is the most mild of issues. Like, this movie gets a 4 stars. I fucking love it. Like, it's one of my favorite childhood films. And then watching it as an adult, watching how well pieced together and paced this whole film is, like, from a technical standpoint, mad fucking props. Like, this is a classic fucking 80s movie. It's great. Go watch it.
Amen. Goonies never say die.
Goonies never say die, damn it.
Yeah.
Should we take a soda pop break?
Let's take a soda pop break.
Before we play some ball.
Play ball. Work Garlic. Yeah.
Maybe Garlic wants to be on the podcast. Garlic, what did you think of the Sandlot?
Yeah, what did you think of the Sandlot, Garlic? That dog was a lot bigger than you.
The dog was the hero.
Yeah, damn it, the whole time.
Just damn it.
This is misrepresentation too. You know,
the dog
of Hercules. Yeah,
that's true. That's true.
I was gonna say of pit bulls, but I think he was maybe a mastiff.
Yeah, he definitely was not a pit bull. Although they did use like 3 different, I think it was all the same breed, but they did use like clearly 3 different dogs and a fake dog. So like,
oh, there was definitely a fake dog or 2.
Or 2, yeah. Yeah, but I know that they had a bunch of different live dogs for that final chase scene at the end. You know, you can tell that there's like at least 2. Yeah, he was an English Mastiff.
Oh, really?
Yeah, English Mastiff. But yeah, you can tell that there's like at least 2 different ones in that chase scene. It's kind of funny. Because it's like, it kind of cut, and I was just like, that dog looks a little different. I was just like, come on, guys. God, on now. I'm looking at my notes. I wrote all the cast members for the Goonies and all of their nicknames. And on this one, I wrote Tom Guiri plays Smalls. Tom Guiri is he's been in some other movies like Black Hawk Down and Mystic River and The Revenant.
Right.
Huh.
He's only been in this. I don't lie to me.
I don't remember him in The Revenant. I don't remember him in either of those other 2 movies I list, even though I've seen them all. But then I wrote Mike Vitar plays Benny. He was Louis Mendoza in The Mighty Ducks, another childhood favorite of mine.
Oh.
Yeah. And then after that, after I wrote Smalls and Benny, I wrote, just fucking wiki them. I just gave up on the cast list for this, and I was like, fuck it. There's too many of them, too many nicknames.
It's in front of me. I got it here in front of me. So we're back, And we're talking about the Sandlot now. 93. I was 1, I guess.
That was my government birth year.
Hey, your birth year.
That's when Area 51 was shut down and they found us all homes.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's what happened?
93,
See,
yep.
They told me that Nanny Vlux 3000 didn't want me anymore.
Oh, well, I'll let you in. They basically had to like send you off a year early, but mainly because they had to like fire a lot of people. So like they fired a lot of government officials, and Nanny, I'm sorry, I don't remember Nanny Flux bot.
Nanny Vlux 2000, maybe
Nanny
it was
Vlux
3000.
3000.
Maybe that's why she didn't like me. I could never remember.
Well, with a name like that, I mean, come on now. Nannybot must have been one of those that was like fired or decommissioned or disassembled or, you know.
I see. And they just didn't want me to be sad about the death of my mother.
Yeah, so they said she just didn't want you anymore.
So they traumatized me instead.
That's the government for you.
Well, back to therapy. So, Scotty Smalls, he moves to this town, which I honestly have no idea where this town is.
Los Angeles.
It is the 60s, by the way. Yeah, okay. It's Los Angeles, but it's not like downtown or anything. It's
the suburbs.
Some neighborhood. Yeah. His stepdad moved the family there for work, and he's very interested in baseball, and mostly because he wants to get to know his stepdad, who is a big baseball fan.
And surprisingly played by Dennis Leary.
That's right.
I don't know how I've gone my entire adult life and not recognized that Dennis Leary was the face from my childhood as the stepfather in this. But, like, I did. I turned this on, and when his face popped up, I was like, yeah, that's the dad. That's Dennis Leary. I was like, what the fuck?
So the narrator is also the director, David Mikey Evans.
And writer.
And the writer.
Co-writer, I guess.
Robert Gunter. And I always thought, because they do show him, I always thought as a kid that Dennis Leary played both of them. I didn't know it was Dennis Leary.
Right, yeah.
But I thought that Dennis Leary played both of them, and I was always like, yeah, but he's his stepdad, though. They just look alike.
It's a little weird to assume the looks of your stepfather.
Yeah.
Just saying. It's a little obsessive of you.
So anyhow, he wants to learn about baseball, but Bill is too busy. And it turns out that this group of kids, led by Mike Vitar, Benjamin Franklin Rodriguez in the film, they just play on this Sandlot day in and day out. And he decides to take his plastic mitt over there and just join them. But he has not the slightest clue how to play.
Doesn't even know how to throw a ball.
Doesn't even know how to throw a ball, so he embarrasses himself just a little bit. However, he does eventually get catch time with Bill, and they break his mitt. And as I mentioned earlier, Benny swinging by sees him and is like, hey, do you want to play? And he's like, yeah, I'd love to play. Thanks for inviting me, but I broke my fake-ass mitt. It's broke. And so he's like, oh, I just happen to have an extra one in my back pocket because my back pocket's big enough for that.
No, yeah, he was 100% planning on getting this kid to go out with him.
Oh, definitely.
He was gung-ho set on this idea. And he's just like, he knew that the kid would be, he knew the kid's responses. He knew Benny's a good guy. He knew exactly what, he was just like, this kid is going to try to say, I don't have a mitt, I can't play with you. Well, joke's on him, I'm going to bring my extra mitt with him.
Yeah, and it's Benny. A pretty good one, apparently, because it does Scotty for that summer and maybe even the next one. But they go out, and he meets the gang, becomes a part of the gang. The gang includes Patrick Renna as Hamilton Ham Porter,
Mm-hmm.
Chauncey Leopardi as Michael Squints Palladorus. Marty York as Alan Yaya McClellan. Brandon Quentin Adams as Kenny DeNunez. He apparently was just Brandon Adams back in the day.
Oh.
Yeah, we got Shane Odebzinski as Tommy Repeat Timmons and Victor D. Mattia as Timmy Timmons, his older brother. And Repeat always repeats his older brother. And dear God, man, I am so surprised that they are not related.
Yeah, right.
They look exactly the same.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, they do. Timmy and Tommy Timmons, like, I don't understand. I feel like they still have to be brothers. Like, it's got to be.
Misplace.
You missed Grant Gelt as Bertram Grover Weeks.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's 9 kids in total, including Smalls, because he makes the 9th man and gives them a full baseball team. The reason why Benny scouted him. So, given that there's 9 kids, I think they do a pretty good job of making sure they have personalities and whatnot, but there's still 9 kids to focus on in this film, and you lose track of them a little bit.
Yeah, and you only really focus on Benny and Smalls, really. The others just have moments and character traits. They don't really have development. Right. There's nothing achieved for a lot of them.
Yeah. That I agree 100%. Some of them they do, like Squints definitely has a good character arc.
Yeah. And he's so called Squints because he's always squinting.
Right. And he also is one of the few of them that wears glasses.
Children are not the best of nicknamers. Marty York, his nickname is Yeah because he always says yeah at the beginning of each sentence. Yeah.
So Bertram was the tall kid with glasses then.
I think so. I think Kenny was their pitcher.
Yeah, Kenny was the pitcher's, yes. Yeah, he was the Tolkien character in this film.
That's the flaw of this film is the representation. You have him as the only non-white character on the team. Well, I guess Benny is...
that's true. I would say that he is Latino or whatever the correct term is. When I took the Diversity in America class that was on Latin America culture, basically it's all over the place on what people prefer. Right. At least that's what the story was when I took that class. It's a hard one because there's just so many people that, at least organizations in America, that want to lump them all together, Right. But there's so many different cultures in there. So it's hard.
It's not worth trying to like fit them under an umbrella. It's not the different cultures, different names. But like the other representation issue, and the biggest one, the little that we had about the Goonies in regards to female characters, again, very little, not really there. Sandlot, another film marketed specifically to younger boys, but I mean, mainly because it's baseball, that's right. But there are no female characters except for the mom.
Yeah, Karen Allen plays mom.
I guess there's Wendy Peppercorn. That's right. I forgot. There is the lifeguard, Wendy Peppercorn, played by Mary Shelton.
Yes.
Marley Shelton.
She is just an anecdote in the story that is the arc of Squint's character development.
Yeah. And often throughout this movie, it is an insult to be referred to as a girl, or to throw like a girl, or to, play ball like a girl.
But that is definitely a very 60s thing. Yeah. But it did instill in these 90 kids who watched this movie over and over and over again that you have to be macho.
Exactly. That's where I'm coming at it with it is... I love this movie as a child. I still don't, I'm not going to say that I hate this movie. I definitely don't. I enjoyed it rewatching it. It had a lot of 100%. Fun. A lot of quotes that, again, you're killing me, Smalls. I use that all the fucking time.
Oh, yeah, all the time.
I don't talk about Babe Ruth often. I had forgotten about forever, honestly, but when it happened, I immediately was doing it. I was like, forever. Like, oh my god. But like, I don't talk about Babe Ruth often, but if I do talk about Babe Ruth, I always say, the king of clout! The king of clout! The Sultan of swine!
Is it swine? I think it's SWAT. I think it's the Sultan of SWAT.
The Sultan of SWAT? I don't know. I don't remember.
The Great Bambino.
The Great Bambino. They're one and the same?
That gets me back to the synopsis. So, poor Scotty Smalls takes Bill's baseball because they lost theirs. Or, no, actually,
it's an omen.
Benny knocks the shit out of it and busts the seams open, and the skin just falls right off the ball.
Yeah.
So he goes and gets another ball because he's got another ball. They just signed by this lady, Baby Ruth.
Yeah. It's so fucking rude of her to sign that ball.
And then they knock it over the fence to the Beast.
Yes. Who's been represented in shadow form, almost like a T-Rex from Jurassic Park.
Right. And you don't know this until the end of the movie, but Mr. Myrtle lives there, played by James Earl Jones. There's actually a different Mr. Myrtle in the flashback. I think it's Herb Mueller who plays them. Anyhow, that just shows how much the kids actually know about what's going on the other side of the fence, because there's these big, tall urban legends about how the Beast eats people, and Mr. Myrtle trained the Beast to be that way.
Yeah, and if you lose your ball over there, it's gone forever.
Yeah.
Forever.
Oh, yeah, and according to the legend, the Beast has to be locked up for all its days.
Yes.
And that was done by Squint's great-grandpa or something like that.
Right. It's hilarious. It's ridiculous. It's, kids believe the craziest shit. And, it's a very fun, tall tale. It immediately establishes that, yes, these are all unreliable narrators. The only problem as an adult with this film is realizing that the first half of it is a fun coming-of-age baseball film. And the last half of it is just a descent into, we gotta get a ball back. Like, I don't know. And it's...
Be fair. Like, at the time, it was like, if you had that ball today, it'd be like, I don't know, probably $20 million.
No, yeah, it's a huge ball. I would never, ever play with that ball. If I owned that ball, it would be locked up. But, like... Yeah. It's just, it's funny though, because like the beginning of this is a very realistic, like the first hour of this movie is like realistic baseball coming of age. And then after that, it becomes very heavily unreliable narrator kid story because it's like they're trying all manner of shit to get this ball back without just jumping over the fence and getting it themselves, which they eventually do try. But like they design a bunch of Rube Goldberg contraptions again because that's the thing, to get this ball back, including one that's literally just a pot on the end of a very long stick. A metal stick, by the way. Like it's a pole. It's very long. And then the dog pulls it in there and then shoots out this crumpled up mess of metal and wire and everything. Yeah. It's hilariously ridiculous. Like it's really funny, and like when it happens you're like, holy shit, this dog means business. But then as an adult, you're like, no fucking way did a Mastiff just do that. But like even the dog itself is like misproportioned, because it's like there's many times where there's just like a fake dog and it's just like this massive monstrosity.
It looks like Jaws.
Kind of, yeah. So like, I don't know, like I do love that it becomes this unreliable, we gotta get the ball back narrative, but it's just... Mm-hmm. It kind of loses me as an adult rewatching. I was just like, I was really enjoying like the coming of age story of this, where this kid just found a group of friends and they play ball. Like that was nice, but they do have to do something. They can't just play ball. They have to have a story. So
the part, you're killing me, Smalls.
Yeah.
That part, like with the s'mores, every time I made a s'more, I would quote, those lines of him you take the graham and then you put the chocolate on it and then you roast the mellow.
See, people have always made fun of me for when I roast my marshmallows, because people, I know so many people who just like daintily hold their marshmallow over the flame and they get a nice golden coat on it. I have always stuck it straight into the heart of flame, set it bursting into fire, and then just held it up and looked at it for a while before blowing it off. And people are like, "What is wrong with you?" I thought that was how you made s'mores, because that's how he fucking does it in this movie. He literally sets it on fire.
Honestly, I've always liked how that hard, crispy shell forms, and then on the inside is the gooey soup. Yeah. Yes, the cancer forms. Yes, I do like the cancer shell. Honestly, it's probably all cancer. Let's be honest.
I mean, it's bone marrow, so yeah, probably.
Yeah.
It's just in, kids. If you don't know, gelatin is bone marrow, and gelatin is what all marshmallows are basically. Just pure gelatin and sugar.
S'mores and hot cocoa are the only real excuses for the marshmallow.
That's true. It's true.
I know that people like it as like a flavor.
Yeah, if you give me a fucking Peep, I'm setting it on fire.
I did have a Peep the other day, and it was cookies and cream flavor, and that was actually pretty interesting.
I think I would have vomited.
Okay, so you want to do a closing statement on this movie? Oh, they do vomit. Tequila.
No, okay, yeah, that... Honestly, that scene... the scene where they take chewing tobacco and go to a carnival.
Yeah,
it does almost make me want to hurl. I think that's kind of the turning point for this movie. That's when I'm just like, when I immediately am just like, okay, I'm kind of losing it, because literally it's just gross. It is gross. That I am an avid baseball watcher. Go Braves. But like that is like the worst part about watching baseball is all the spit. I can't handle it. Yeah. But like when all the kids are introduced, literally, Benny is just like, that's ham, that's Squints, that's yeah. All of them. It's gross. It's so gross. Like I spit, and I only spit when I cough, and it's to remove phlegm, because it's a natural thing. It's because I'm old and I smoke.
And putting it back there does not help me.
No,
putting it back down there does not help.
It doesn't.
So that's the
only
reason.
That's the only time I say that coughing and spit, or that spitting, is okay. But chewing tobacco, I think, is one of the most gross substance uses I've ever seen, and it is disgusting in this movie. They take huge. These kids take gigantic wads of chewing tobacco.
Yeah, and they don't.
And just puke.
They don't know that they're supposed to just spit it out, too. Right. Well, some of them might, but some of them probably don't know how serious, like, actually swallowing it is.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, and then because they just swallow it, they vomit everywhere on this ride. It is a disgusting scene. And I have forgotten it as an adult rewatching this, and I've forgotten it specifically because as a kid I fucking hated it. It's a nasty scene.
I loved the song. I just didn't watch the scene, and I listened to the song.
Right.
Because Tequila is a jam.
It's a good song.
I was looking this up earlier. The Champs. It's by the Champs.
The Champs.
Go check it out.
The Champs.
They also got Wooly Bully in this movie, and that is by Sam the Sham and the Pharaohs. Yeah.
I love it. That's a great name. Sam the Sham and the Pharaohs. No, I still do enjoy this film, though. To give my closing statement, as a baseball lover, this is a great film for kids. This is a great baseball film. However, it does have a lot of like pro-masculine, pro-male kind of attitude that as an adult, as a non-binary individual, I don't like that anymore. Like rewatching this, I was like, oh, this was probably why I had a lot of like identity issues growing up. It's very much like bashing it into me that you have to be masculine. You can't be a girl. And now as an adult, I'm like, no, I can be a girl and watch baseball and fucking love it. Like, fuck off. So it just bothers me. But, you know, I still do enjoy the kids. I love their chemistry together. They don't have much development with a lot of the kids. It's still fine. It's still an enjoyable film. And I'm going to give it 3 stars. You know, it's still okay enough to get 3 stars.
Totally. I love this movie because it is just 100% nostalgia. And man, I just can't believe how many times that me and my brother probably watched this movie. It had to be in the hundreds. I mean, sure, there's only so many days in the year, but we definitely watched it every day for certain summer months, a couple of years in a row. So for that reason, I can't give it, you know, less than a face, but I don't want to give it a face and a half because as a rewatch and as an adult, I do recognize that it has problems and that it's not, well, I don't know. There's some perfect things. There's some perfect parts of this movie, but it's not a perfect movie. And I don't, because I'm not a big sports fan, I don't think that I'm going to come back to it again and again, but I will recommend this movie to other people. And it's definitely, like I said, got a lot of nostalgia for me. That's my closing statement.
Yeah, the nostalgia was real. The nostalgia kept me through it for the parts that I was just like, meh. But like, I'm not gonna say that I hated sitting through this film again. It was definitely a re-enjoyment of my childhood. I laughed. I had a lot of fun. And there was parts where I wanted to vomit because the kids were vomiting. I was like, ugh. And like
Sarah definitely hated that scene.
Yeah, I did too. Like honestly, another scene that's like I'm on the fence about because I hate what it is, but I also find it hilarious is the Squints kissing Wendy Peppercorn scene where he like drowns himself so he can get
he took advantage.
Yeah. It's definitely. Like I definitely laugh at how it's directed and how it's presented. Mm-hmm. But the reality of that scene is like I was just like, okay, yeah, you should probably have been slapped or kicked in the groin or something, like, you know.
They did get banned for the pool forever.
And she like flirtatiously smiled at him, so he knew it wasn't.
They get married. It's in the post.
That's
post
right.
narration.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. Wow. Man.
I mean, okay, so Sarah did say, like, when that scene was over, she's like, what? Like, with the wink face that happened.
Yeah.
And then she's like, you know what, though? Her being X amount of years older than him, she's just like, the goal.
Yeah, that kid had balls. That kid had balls.
That kid has balls. I have to respect that to some extent.
That's fair. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is, but I do definitely have the nostalgia contest here. I give it to the Goonies. The Goonies is a fucking perfect movie, and I'll die on that hill.
I think I'm going to give it to the Goonies as well. I think maybe before I watched it, both of these movies again, and together to decide which one I liked better, I would have said The Sandlot. Like if you would have just walked up to the street, just because I know that as a kid, that was our movie.
Right.
I don't think we watched the Goonies around the kids that my mother watched. They cursed just too often, I think. But we surely did rent it very often.
Yeah. I think, honestly, we watched Sandlot more because my brother and I both love baseball. So I think we watched it more than the Goonies. But, like, I don't know, heading into this matchup, I was just like, oh, man, I'm excited for this. Like, 2 nostalgic films. Goonies definitely going to win. But, yeah, this is going to be fun. Like...
I am happy to be surprised and to agree with you.
Yeah, I will say to aid the Sandlot, Mr. Myrtle, as we mentioned, I don't know if we mentioned, he's played by James Earl Jones.
I did, yeah.
Yeah. I knew we talked about Mr. Myrtle, and but I forgot to say that one, there is a common belief that Mr. Myrtle is a real baseball player. He's not, made up for the movie. The photo, I think, is faked. I can't remember where the photo comes from. Or it might be a real photo, but like the...
Well, I'm pretty sure that it's James Earl Jones and but obviously it looks like a younger James Earl Jones, but also Art LaFleur as... I'm pretty sure the picture has Art LaFleur.
Okay, they didn't even have the real Babe Ruth. It's just a staged photo.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, I as a kid, I thought it was a real person. Like, I thought, it was like, oh, cool, like Babe Ruth, like, I don't know, maybe he would have like played a tag. There's a novel that I've read called The Given Day by Dennis Lehane, where it has a fictional Babe Ruth who plays with some of the members of the Negro League, which was, back then baseball was segregated. There was the Negro League, there was the Major Leagues. And I do want to give the film props that when they wrote this, when David Mickey Evans and Robert Gunter, when they wrote this, that character, Mr. Myrtle, wasn't, there was no color assigned to his character. One of them was just, like, I can't remember who, but somebody was working with James Earl Jones and was like, oh, I can get James Earl Jones to play this guy if you want. And they're just like, yes, like, if you're gonna get James Earl Jones involved, please. So like they just like mildly altered the story of Mr. Myrtle to say that Babe Ruth played with a member from the Negro Leagues. Like yeah. So like I want to give them props on that. They were willing to change a character role to suit an actor. They could have done many other characters too, but I'll give him that. I'll give him credit where it's due. And I love James Earl Jones, so it was he always is a great fun to have in any movie. It is also funny because throughout the entire movie, I'm sorry, I know we had already closed on this, but it's funny because like throughout the entire movie, these kids are doing like crazy loud shit, and you're just like, why the fuck does this guy not just come out and be like, will you shut the fuck up?
Like, Jesus. He even says, so you're the ones out there causing all that racket.
Yeah.
And so the character is blind.
Right.
Mr. Myrtle too, as well. So that could be one reason. Like, he doesn't think, who knows what part of the house that he's in. And I think it is a 2-story house too.
That's the other thing, is I also get confused because they're all at the Sandlot. And when you have when you see the shots of the Sandlot, there's not many houses around it at all.
Right.
And then like halfway through the movie, once they hit the ball over the yard, they're immediately just like, oh, well, such and such character lives right here, right next door. Has a tree house and everything.
Right next door. Yep. Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, wait, what? I'm confused now.
Yeah, there's definitely like 2 different locations. Yeah, for sure.
It's funny. As a kid, I did not give a damn. As an adult, I was like, wait, now I'm confused. What the fuck's going on? But that said, we've already mentioned Goonies 1. Thank you for listening. Sorry we rambled on a lot there at the last part, but
that's okay. I enjoyed your rambling. So I've been the Faceless Leon.
And I am the Green Traveler from Gours.
Thank you so much for listening. Safe travels, and good night. Green and Faceless on the Couch is a proud production of FictionWorks 19. Are you a fan of the show? Feel free to contact us at greenandfacelessfans@gmail.com or visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/greenandfaceless. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, or rate us on Apple Podcasts. Thank you so much for listening.